everybody? Mark, aka the Nerdy Punk, back again today for a new video. Before we get into tonight's video, cheers everybody. I feel like the entire world could use a drink right about now. Yeah, crazy stuff going on, and in today's video I'm going to be kind of talking about that a little bit, because tonight I'm going to be covering a brand new album that just released 2 days ago. I haven't done an album review in ages. I honestly couldn't tell you what the last album review I did, but it's definitely been over a year. But a couple days ago, a very special record released called RTJ 4 by the hip-hop and rap group Run the Jewels. And if you haven't heard of Run the Jewels, they're an incredible hip-hop duo consisting of LP, who is a rapper and producer from New York, and Killer Mike, who is a rapper from Atlanta. He did some stuff really early in his career with Outkast, which is a very popular rap group, came out of Atlanta. But both of those guys are fantastic, and just the mixing of the two together, they each have very unique and special flows to how they rap. And then you put together LP, who's just an absolute genius, in my opinion, when it comes to creating beats. Like, I can't remember what video it was, but there's a YouTube video, you guys might be able to find it if you do a little searching, where it was for one of these shows, and they followed around LP and watched him create a beat from like 5 bargain bin records that he bought at a record store. I mean, people argue against sampling because they say like, well, it's using someone else's stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it is, but if you ever watch the process of creating a beat out of someone else's records, it's amazing. It takes an incredible amount of talent to do that. LP has an amazing amount of talent, and I love listening to his stuff. So he produces all of their stuff, also raps alongside Killer Mike. And if you see me looking down a bit, I've got my computer here so I can look at some notes, because this is the type of album that I wanted notes for, because there's so much I want to talk about. This is a fantastic record. Every Run the Jewels record is great, and I recommend every single one of them, but this one may be their best overall. It's just so good. Like I said, the beats are fantastic, as with every single Run the Jewels record, because LP creates the beats. They're fire, amazing stuff. In terms of the specifics on the record, there are several songs that feature other artists. So some of the notable artists that feature are 2 Chainz and Zach De La Rocha from Rage Against the Machine. And this is actually, I believe, the 3rd time he's been featured on a Run the Jewels track. He works perfectly with them as well. One of the very few complaints I have with this record is the track that Zach De La Rocha is featured on. I just wish I could have heard more of him. He kind of comes and goes throughout the record. He is featured on the chorus of the song, but I just wish I could have heard a little bit more of him. Josh Homme, who's the lead singer of Queens of the Stone Age, he features on this. Mavis Staples, like one of the legends in the soul R&B scene, features on this record. So all kinds of great features, and the thing about these features, they don't feel forced. They feel perfectly in line with the songs. A lot of times with rap records, it feels like the features are there just so they can attach that big name to the album, but complete opposite with this. They feel perfectly in line with the songs and do not feel forced whatsoever. This album, it's not a coincidence that it was released early. So the original album was intended on being released on June 5th, which is today that I'm recording this video. But they released it 2 days early, and when they released it, they put out a message saying that with all of the craziness that's happening right now, this album really feels like something that people need at the moment. And it really does. It feels like a soundtrack to what's going on right now with the George Floyd protests and the protesting of police brutality and racism in the United States. And I'm not going to delve too much into that because I want to let the music speak for itself here. I would much rather you listen to Run the Jewels than listen to me, talk. So I definitely recommend listening to the songs. I am going to read one of the lyrics to one of the songs from this record because it's amazing. It gave me chills when I heard it. Absolutely incredible stuff. But it really does feel like the soundtrack to our time. And Run the Jewels is known for their conscious rap. And what that basically means is they rap about stuff that matters. They rap about real shit, like I like to say. A lot of the mainstream rap today comes from like the SoundCloud rap scene. And that kind of rap, like Gucci Gang and Migos, that kind of rap, like not to offend anybody that likes that type of music, but that is what made me hate hip-hop for a long time. And I hate that hip-hop gets branded as that, because it couldn't be farther from the truth. There are amazing artists out there making amazing music in the hip-hop scene. And repeating the same line over and over again over a generic beat is not hip-hop. Hip-hop is stuff like Run the Jewels and Eminem. It's the closest form of music to poetry that exists. And it can be used to say some really profound stuff. But I don't want to make you guys think that Run the Jewels is just strictly political, like socially conscious rap. It's not. They have a really great mixture of funny jokes and lighthearted music to counterbalance that all the real shit that they talk about as well. And I think that's perfect. Like, even I, somebody who's really involved in politics, would kind of feel like the political stuff and the serious stuff would get old over time, but that mixture of the funny stuff really just keeps it perfectly balanced, in my opinion. Another thing that I wanted to kind of say with that, I'm a fan of punk rock music. As you may know, based on the title of my channel, The Nerdy Punk. Those are my two biggest interests in life, nerd culture and punk rock. And punk rock and hip hop may seem like they're polar opposites, but I think the heart of what Run the Jewels is very punk rock in its soul and identity, because it's a lot about rebelling against the system, calling out the flaws in the system and standing up against them. And it's a lot about finding a community of people to kind of identify with each other and spreading unity throughout the people who are listening to this music. That, to me, is what punk rock is. So to me, hip-hop and punk rock can be almost the same thing at their core. Obviously, the music is going to sound different. And it depends on whether you like the style of music as well. But to me, the core of what they are is the same. And that, in my opinion, is why Run the Jewels is my favorite hip-hop artist or group. Because the whole package, obviously, but because at their core, I think they're very, very punk rock. And I love that. I already mentioned the mix of the funny and the real stuff. I want to go ahead and read you the lyrics. And then I'll get to my only major flaw with the record. So this is from the song Walking in the Snow, which, in my opinion, is the best song on the record. So I want to read you verse 2, which is Killer Mike's first verse in the song. The way I see it, you're probably freest from the ages of 1 to 4. Around the age of 5, you're shipped away for your body to be stored. They promise education, but really they give you tests and scores. And they predict prison population by who's scoring the lowest. And usually the lowest scores are the poorest, and they look like me. And every day on the evening news, they feed you fear for free. And you so numb, you watch the cops choke out a man like me. Until my voice goes from a shriek to a whisper, I can't breathe. and you sit there in the house on the couch and watch it on TV. The most you give is a Twitter rant and call it a tragedy. But truly, the travesty, you've been robbed of your empathy and replaced it with apathy. I wish you could magically fast forward the future so that you can face it and see how fucked up it'll be. I promise I'm honest, they coming for you the day after they coming for me. So, an incredible verse. Oh my God. Like, I felt everything that he said. And you may notice the I Can't Breathe line. That song and this verse, from what I've heard, was written last fall. So it's not in reference to George Floyd. It's in reference to Eric Garner, who you may remember was the African-American man who was choked to death by the cops in New York City in 2014. To me, just knowing the fact that that was not inspired by George Floyd but was inspired by another murder is so haunting, because it just means that this stuff has been going on for so long and we still have yet to confront it as a society. Crazy. I definitely recommend listening to that song, because hearing Killer Mike say it is so much better than what I could do here. My only flaw with the album, aside from the fact that I wish I could have heard more of Zach De La Rocha, like I mentioned earlier, the second single on the record is called Ooh La La, and I love the verses on that song. The chorus to me can get a little bit annoying. It's very, very repetitive, just repeats ooh la la over and over again. To me, that's a little bit repetitive and can get kind of annoying, but it's a very, very small thing about this record, and it doesn't damage my view of the record as a whole. And even that song, I still like that song, even though I don't like the chorus. But yeah, it's a nearly perfect record. It's as close to perfect as I think a record can get. And that's why I'm going to give Run the Jewels 4 a 5 out of 5 rating. Perfect rating. This is definitely my favorite record of the year so far, and has a contention to be my number one record of 2020. It's just incredible. Even if you don't like hip-hop, I would love for you to check out this record, because I think it really makes a statement. It has a lot of things to say, and it's really well put together. And hopefully it can kind of give people who maybe don't like hip-hop, or maybe have a misconception of what hip-hop is, if they see things like Gucci Gang and think that's what hip-hop is. You know, check out something like this. Expand your musical horizons a little bit. And I think every time I've done that in my life, every time I've expanded my musical horizons, I've been very grateful that I did, because I discovered some amazing stuff. So that wraps up my thoughts on Run the Jewels 4. Outstanding record. I'll have the physical vinyl copy when it comes out in September. I pre-ordered it, so it released digitally in June, and then it's going to release on vinyl and CD in September. So go pick it up when it comes out on vinyl. I already pre-ordered the record, like I said, so maybe I'll do an unboxing of that or something. But with that being said, I hope you all are keeping your sanity with all the stuff that's going on in the world. You can't forget about coronavirus as well. It's still out there. It's still wreaking havoc. The world is crazy right now, but if you're someone like me, music is one of the things that's helping me get through this. And I hope you all are getting through it as well, and staying sane and staying safe and continuing to be awesome. Have a great day, guys.